Hey YouTube, welcome back. Reminder, if you want to lesson with me, check the link in the description below, and we'll talk about bass trombones, which is all I ever seem to do on this channel. Today is something I've been waiting for a long time. It's a trial by fire. Oh, it went out. There we go. It's my tiny little blowtorch. It even says blowtorch on it, 2 different words. I love this thing, and I've been waiting a long time to set that off on camera. And I have an occasion. So, short history, if you guys didn't notice, there's been a pandemic, and I've not had a gig with other people, or even playing with other people, really, for 11 months and 20 days. 10 days short of an entire year. And as of yesterday, I got to play with people. I have, and I will admit, played excerpts with 2 other people in August for like 30 minutes. One tiny little session. And I'm counting this too. I don't know, maybe 3 months ago, I played some long tones with my tech. That's it. That's all I've done for an entire year. I have not played with anybody. Even that little excerpt session, which was in August or September, something like that, was like, playing music with other people. I forgot what it was like. And that was like 9 months ago. So, it's been a while. I have not played with other people, and I got invited to play sextets, nice and distanced, with people who are also working from home and not really, interacting out in the real world. Some pretty safe environment. We're all masked when we're not playing and stuff like that. Playing in a large lobby of a building, so lots of space for air. Just to get the precautions out of the way. I was very worried about that too, because I have older family who I don't want to give COVID to, right? And I got to play with them yesterday for 2 hours, and we played sextets. We had 2 bass trombones, 4 tenor trombones, and man, it was just great. It was really fun. And for the purposes of this video, I got to play 2 instruments that I've never played with other people before, and honestly didn't expect to play with other people for a while, if ever. Man, maybe I'd sell them before I even get to play them with people. So, not the contrabass. I actually might bring this to the next one, because we're going to do it again, I think. But not yet. Still haven't really played this with more than 2 or 3 people. But I did play both of my bass trombones. I just took my double bass case, very handy in this situation. Weighs like 30 pounds with both bass trombones in it. And I played bass trombone on all the charts. Bass trombone 1 or 2. 2 usually has the lower notes, of course. And on that, I played, drum roll, the 50 with Olsen rotor valves and the screw bell, which at the sextets, I realized I had not taken off in like 2 months. So I took it off just to make sure it comes off. And preparing for this event, which honestly, in my life right now, it's an event because nothing really happens otherwise. I decided to just play this for like 3 days. Because usually on a typical day, I get this out and I double it with one of my tenor trombones. And it doesn't feel great. It never really feels like I'm centering everything, like the partials are lining up, like the low range feels good. I kind of like end the day and I'm like, okay, and I just put it away. Usually a tenor instrument feels pretty good. And this doesn't. So I was like, well, I should probably try and get into bass trombone a little bit since I'm not going to be doubling. And over the course of the 3 days-ish that I played this by itself, it got a lot better. And I think it's it's not a double-edged sword, really. It's just got 2 elements to it. One of the elements is I prefer a bass trombone setup, sound concept, etc., that don't really lend themselves to doubling that much. I like a pretty big mouthpiece. I like the large orchestral sound, wide with lots of core. It's kind of lots of things that don't really lend themselves to someone who is playing lots of different instruments. Am I going to have to change that at some point? I don't know. Maybe. For now, I'm going to keep doing that because I do primarily play the bass trombone in the real world someday. And when I do that for a couple days in a row, everything feels so much better. Like I was playing my Greg Black 1G, and it just felt like home. I could play high, I could play low. It was very flexible. I don't know, just felt good. And at the gig, it's not a gig, we were just playing for fun. it felt really good as well. I was pleasantly surprised by how much sound it was throwing off the sides of the instrument, because this doesn't give a lot of feedback because of the ring. And articulations were pretty good. They're a little heavier than I like, a little too much thud to them. I can kind of back off and not have as much of that, but it does take a lot of like thought and effort to not just go whomp, whomp on the start of every note. So not super enthused about that, but that's a problem I've had on other instruments as well. And it might be a mouthpiece thing, I don't know. Maybe a lead pipe and stuff as well. The valves felt nice and open. Sometimes the low C and low B on this, it's open, but I can't like find the center of it super easily. And I could just get this nice, like really full, rich sound on those notes. And most importantly, the stuff below that, the pedals. I was playing stuff down to pedal C in the trombone 2 part. I was just playing the Bruckner Etude by Crespo. I just played part of that on the contrabass, which I'd love to do. But I played it on this, and all the pedal stuff felt great. I've always been able to play low, but I've never been comfortable in that range. And guess what? Practice pays off, and it felt really good. Like really soft entrances, bum, bum, on pedal Cs, just bum, bum. Man, it felt really good. I'm not like super enthused about it. There's some aspects, it felt like the sound kind of just didn't change. And if I were playing this on first bass trombone, playing the upper octave, sometimes stuff in the staff felt a little strange, like I couldn't get like a really good core to it like I could lower. So overall, happier about it than I have been. Still got them some things to work on. I'm gonna have Ben look at the valves. He thinks they might be lapped too much, as in they took off too much material from the valve core, because they do only seem to last a couple days before they start leaking, which they shouldn't do. So overall, it's got a better score than I gave it in my Fleet review that I did earlier. It's better, you know? And when I was playing first bass trombone, the upper part, when there were no, bunch of like low C's and B's and stuff, I played my Holton 185. I've really wanted to play this with other people, because here in my practice room, this is a really enjoyable instrument to play. But that does not always translate to real life. Other people being happy around you and playing in tune and good attacks and blending into the sound and stuff like that. And so I decided to bring this as well and see if I could just play some stuff that didn't require pedal Cs and things like that. And man, it felt great. It was probably the room that we were in. This was giving more feedback than usual, so it felt pretty good. And this thing was giving like almost too much feedback. I would play like an A flat at the bottom of the staff, and it was just like whoosh, just like radiating off the bell, just like, jeez. It's something I can't really get across in words. It's not like I'm playing loud. I'm just playing like mezzo forte, but there's just so much of that sound coming back at me. That's totally unexpected, and something that honestly I should be used to, because I used to play a Holton 180 that had similar feedback. It had a lot of feedback. It told you exactly what it was doing. And this is similar in a lot of ways. Also better in basically every way. I only ran into a couple issues. The low range feels amazing on this instrument. Just like a huge core to the sound, easy attacks. It doesn't feel stuffy. Obviously, I'm not using the second valve because I still can't with the lever setup right now. But down to D flat, it just like has this massive sound, just so easy to play. But C in the staff with the F valve, this one, not the other one, didn't feel so great. Like the sound seemed to change a lot, the response changed a lot. Sometimes it would kind of like double buzz. Just a really strange feeling. And I'm not sure why that would be, because I did just oil this again. The valves are nice and sealed. And like low F in first position, spot on. It feels great. It sounds great. I love it. But C above that, not as much. Not really sure why that is. Might just because it's a small rotor. But I would just play those in sixth, and they work great there. I also had more stuff you know, kind of like in the staff and above. And this just made this nice, dense, really easily like tunable sound to the rest of the ensemble. Of course, I don't know how it sounds out in front. Maybe it sounds awful and everybody hated playing with me. But this felt really good. And I'm excited someday to have second valve ability with this, because then I won't have to, you know, only play it on first bass trombone parts. So overall, very, very happy with my playing. It's really nice to have a check-in, because I've been practicing my butt off this whole time. It's nice to get a check-in and be like, oh, look, all that work actually might have paid off. Maybe it was worth it. Overall, I played about 1,000 times better than I ever have in that kind of ensemble. And it's like, oh, this might actually work when the stuff comes back. And also happy with my instruments. Both of them worked really well, and I got lots of compliments, and it was fun playing with the other guys and gals. And it was a great time. And I'm glad you guys were here. And that's trial by fire of 2 of my possibly more bass trombones. More to come. See you guys next time.